All right, I think we're live. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're having an okay or a good or amazing day. um, if you are hopping on, or if you're watching the replay, give us a hashtag replay. But I always love to hear if you're connected to Sarah, let us know where you guys met, how you know each other. If you're connected with me, let us know how you met me, how we know each other. And I'm really excited for this week's spotlight. So every week I have been interviewing amazing, incredible powerhouses on my team about how the trajectory of their life would be different if they had been staying course with what they had been doing versus linking arms with me in online business, and what that's done for them on a mental level, on an emotional level, on a business level, all of those things. So, Sarah, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? And Sarah and I met through her sister, I believe.
Yeah.
Probably in a sugar detox. I don't know. Do you remember
Oh,
when you first came?
that is so funny that you say that because I was actually looking through my email this morning and it was exactly a sugar detox in April of 2017. So it's
Oh,
been a little
really?
over 3 years now.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and so I was following Coral through different challenges and things when she was doing like through her online coaching business, and so that's how we got to know each other better.
That's so funny because I remember that one, and I thought it was a total flop. Like I was like, oh no, but like it wasn't as lively as other ones that I did. But it's so funny how the things that we think are like flops later down the road can be like the most amazing little moments, like you connected with me through that, and then you stayed on my email list and participated in other things, and then watched my business journey, and then eventually decided to link arms with me in business and online business as well. So tell me a little bit about your background, and then where you were in life back in December, January, when you were looking at coming into this specific business model that we do together.
Yeah, that's something that I've been reflecting on quite a bit lately. And I think that I'm, as far as my background, I don't know how far back to go, but I graduated college, have my teaching credential, worked as a preschool director for a while. I have two kids. When my son was born, he's going to be 12 here in October. I kind of changed directions and I've been working for the government. As far as my personal development journey, my personal growth has always been something that's important to me. And I just think that kind of the place that I was at the beginning of the year was I was ready to kind of take the next step. I had been really exploring like my mental health, my physical health over the last years, and I was just really ready to take the next step, but I wasn't quite sure what that looked like. And then I went through a money mindset challenge that you had in the fall, and I was really close to joining the business at that point, but I kind of had some limiting beliefs and some things that were holding me back. And then in February, there was another group that I took part in, and I couldn't resist the opportunity really for the personal growth and development that our team offers. So that's really what kind of got me started with the business.
I love that. Yeah. I think you did the Quantum Leap into 2020 challenge that we did. And I remember you looking at people that had done the Money Breakthrough Challenge and then had kind of crossed over to the other side. And you were like, man, that could have been me, like on the inside of this, challenge, on the inside of this launch. And um,
For
yeah, I
sure.
think at that point it was like there were no more limiting beliefs. It was like almost like I don't know if it was like FOMO, but almost like oh, well, like That could be me, you know?
There was definitely a little bit of FOMO to it for sure. Well, and I mean, I think that, at one point I just had the conversation with you, and like with the business that we're in, part of it, right, is having, I mean, there's a couple of different things, right? There's the freedom era, and there's like all the training and stuff that comes with it. And but for me at that point, it was even about like having access to the water, like having a machine for my home and having the water, and like the benefits of that, so the health benefits of that, coupled with just like what I saw in our little community, and just the potential there, that really
Yeah,
inspired me.
definitely. And I think in that second challenge that you did, we went a lot deeper into the science of the water and what it does to your body on a cellular level. And for those of you just tuning in, Sarah and I are part of what she mentioned, the Freedom Era, which is an online educational platform that has like A to Z of having a thriving, successful online business, all the support and mentorship. And then in addition to that, we partner with a product that gives you like the best drinking water you could possibly have in your home for your entire family. So the marriage of the two is really a beautiful thing. And some people choose to just do one or the other, which is always great too. But Sarah has, yeah, dived into both of that. And yeah, it's been pretty cool. So I want to reflect on that dividing moment when you did decide to take the leap and come into the business fully. Can you tell me how your life would look differently right now if you hadn't taken that leap, or what you perceive it would look different?
It is such an interesting and a great question, because, of course, for me, I think that it's even more heightened because when I joined was right before the pandemic. And I can't even tell you, in the last, like, I have chills talking about it. In the last 6 months, like really what being part of this community has done, just in terms of, I think that like mindset has been a huge thing for people the last 6 months. And, the pandemic started. There's been a lot of movement in terms of civil rights things, and trying to navigate all of that, and just having this amazing community to work with, like personally, to navigate some of these things. It's been incredible to have that. So I can't really, I don't even want to think about if I didn't have that, what this time would have been like for me, because it really, I think that people deal with crisis in different ways, and like for me, it became an opportunity for me to really dive deep into this, and to like really kind of commit time and energy into my personal growth journey, more into like everything that the business has to offer. So um it definitely for me would be looking very, very different if I weren't part of this the past, since March or February.
Yeah, I think that it was very timely. um, and you kind of switched from working with people to more working isolated, right? You said sometimes you're like the only one in your office, in your day job, only one in your office, or you work from home now. So do you feel lonely in the isolation, or do you feel like it gives you more access to like to dive into the personal development?
I mean, it's a bit of both. It was definitely a transition, and it continues to be, but it does allow me, like, I'm able to listen to things, like listen to podcasts or listen to things as I go about my day. And that's really allowed me to come to a place where it's opened up that opportunity for me, um, where I wouldn't necessarily, with my day job, have that availability. It's actually kind of, things work out kind of how they're meant to, and so that's definitely been a nice thing to have all of the things to listen to and to contemplate while I'm doing my work. Um, so yeah, for sure, it's been good to have all the different training resources, and also just having a different situation has opened me up to being able to take advantage of that as well.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So what quote unquote problems were you facing in your life that you saw this community and this business to be a solution to, or something that was the right step for you?
Right. And I think that you kind of said it right there. Like it was the next step. Um, I don't in terms of in terms of growth, I can say like definitely there were things around money mindset, still something I'm working on. I think that it's something that, people continue to work and grow on. But for me, those were the kinds of things that I think limiting beliefs and money mindset were two things that really, when I started this journey, were just kind of concepts that were pretty new to me. And so for sure that has come a long way. And those were things that, like, at when I first started this journey, those were things that I needed work around. I'm also just like a personal development junkie, like kind of always have been. And so I just love the opportunity to be able to collaborate with others, to learn from others. I don't know. I can't say how much I love our community, and the fact that, like, we all have something different to offer, and just how amazing it is to be able to share with each other.
Yeah, you can't say how much you love the community. Yeah, for sure. What has That leads perfectly into my next question, which is what has left the biggest impression on you so far? The wider community, which is based out of Australia, and that like wider global piece, the personal development, the business skills, your physical health from drinking the water, or our smaller team atmosphere, the entrepreneur launch point, are kind of
Yeah,
local.
it's really hard to pinpoint one thing. I would say that the probably, like, it's amazing how you can never have met somebody but really feel like a connection to them. And so for that reason, our smaller community for sure. But there's also, what I love about our wider community is how, our leaders, like our, higher up leaders, everybody's accessible. It's not like,
Mhm.
there's somebody's like a CEO that you don't ever see their face or you don't ever hear from them. Everybody's involved. So for sure the wider community in that sense. And of course the personal development I've talked a lot about already, but really just the sense of family kind of within our smaller community. That's probably my favorite part.
I love that part too. And yeah, it's just fun to be able to be connected with people on that intimate level, and then knowing that we live close enough that when this COVID stuff is over and we hold in-person events, like we get to bring that energy in person as well, which will be really fun.
Mhm.
Has your vision of your life in general and the impact that you get to have on others, has that increased since you've plugged into this community and this business?
For sure. I think that, like I was saying in regards to the money mindset and that kind of thing, I think that I don't want to say that I had blinders on, but it's like it's the idea. And I think again, the timing, it was impeccable in regards to COVID. And I think that one thing that's happened with COVID is that it's had people reflect on what's important to them and what their reality looks like. And so I've been able to do that, I think, in an accelerated way because I've also had this group for support. I've had the trainings, and, like, just to be clear, like, the trainings within the freedom era are not just even just solely, I mean, it is business, right? But you realize how much business has to do with your personal development. So um yeah, so for sure I feel like my vision has expanded. I'm working, like, I feel like I'm working to kind of integrate, like, what does my life look right now? What if I were just to, like, dream off the top of my head what I would want it to look like? I still quite haven't figured that piece out. Like, what would I really want it to look like? So I'm getting to play, I'm getting to explore, I'm getting to like look around and see what people are doing and go, okay, would that be a fit for me? Which is amazing just to have that the awareness to even come to that place where it's not kind of just living within the status quo. of like, I've got the house and the two kids and the dog and the picket fence and whatnot, but like, what do I like really in my heart? What's my life's purpose, and what do I really want to be doing? What am I passionate about?
Yeah, and it's like permission to dream, permission to dream big and not to like constrain your dreams because of what people think's practical or status quo. I find that to be one of the most activating things about this community is that it's like, no, like give yourself that permission to dream big. Like what if you can have it all your way, what does that actually look like? I find that to be really empowering. And yeah, I agree that the trainings in the Freedom Era, like on the surface you're like, oh, business, but then you get in and you're like, oh, they say that in this business that we do to spend 80% of our time on mindset work and 20% on strategy. And a lot of that is because the actual structure of the business is already built for us. So we're not having to spend a bunch of time on back end stuff and building landing pages and sales funnels and all those things. So we actually have the space to be able to focus that 80%. And at first, I just kind of blew that off. I was like, whatever, there's no way I should be spending 80% of my time just on myself, right? Just on my mindset work. But it wasn't until I actually took that seriously that I saw the 20%, the strategy actually begin to have traction and take off. So yeah,
Right.
definitely it's fun to like, I think that the trainings kind of reflect that. Like 20% of the trainings are like strategy, very like head, and then the other 80% are like heart and soul and spirit and all of that.
Right, for sure.
How, and I think we've reflected on this already, but if there's anything else you want to put into this, how would COVID and all of this going down, how would this era feel different to you if you hadn't been plugged into this community?
Yeah, I think that we did touch upon it. I don't know if there's anything um else that I would say. Just yeah, I mean really it's completely I can't imagine without it, because I mean I interact with other people who have had such a hard time, and not I mean everybody has a different experience.
Mhm.
But just for me, having access to the community and the trainings and everything has really allowed me to take this time as a time for reflection, and to not only see it in a negative light.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I was kind of in our community bubble, especially because I was at a work event in Australia when the lockdown started, and then I was just still plugged in. And then it wasn't until I started talking to people, intimately outside of this community that were just like in full panic, full fear, full like uncertainty, which there is uncertainty. I'm not going to deny that. That I realized though, like the difference between having a global group of people that are like still have hope for the future and what we get to create in the future, and voting with our dollars, and really like realizing that certainty is really only found within. We can't be depending on external circumstances. But anyways, being a part of that and then seeing the contrast to people that weren't connected with other people like that. So the only people they were talking to were also in fear and also in panic and also in that just like that loop. That was when I saw the contrast of like, oh gosh, I'm really grateful that I have this connection and these deeper conversations that I get to have with people who have hope, and aren't just caught in the doom and gloom of it.
For sure. And the one other point that just makes me think of too is the global perspective. I don't think that that's something I don't think I had any sense of a global perspective at all before joining this business, because there was no reason for me to. I didn't have anybody that I really knew outside of the United States. But it is empowering to know that like my version of reality isn't the only version of reality, and to kind of see what other things look like.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as Americans, like our lives are very centered around America and the US. And we don't like hear news unless it's like crazy global news, but we don't hear like everyday news from other countries. We don't necessarily have that like worldly perspective. So it's cool to actually be in a community that's like not predominantly American and has Europeans and Australians and Canadians and people from South America, and just like more of that worldly thing. Because I think it's really our news, our media is like all really centered on us. And every once in a while you hear bits and pieces about other parts of the world. But I remember when I lived in Spain and I would watch the news, it was like it was about everything. It wasn't just about Spain, you know? So it's nice to be able to tap into that.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
Sarah, what's different about this business model, this structure, this community, than any other businesses or jobs that you've done before?
Um, I mean, I think we've touched on it a lot. The thing is that I am part of other businesses too, in addition to my job. And while there's, like there's trainings and community, but it's not the same. It's not the same as our community. So I would say like above and beyond, that's what it's about. And it's about empowering each other in a very like self-responsible way. Um, so I just feel like that is unique, and the I don't know, like the idea of kind of, like the whole idea behind a lot of our stuff is just basically like cracking yourself wide open. Like, what are you look like on the inside? What are you at your core, right? And how can you take that and bring it into your business and to resonate with people who may be going through the same thing, or that kind of thing. So I feel like because we go above and beyond as far as that's concerned, that's what separates this business from other businesses. It's so heart centered.
Yeah, I love that. Definitely. So, Sarah, if you could go back and say anything to yourself, like let's go back to the first money challenge, maybe when you had a look at what, we kind of opened the doors on like, hey, this is exactly how we work. This is, the structure of it. And the end of that money challenge. So, in those moments when you were hesitating on whether this leap was the right decision for you or not, what would you go back and tell yourself now having this perspective?
Right. Um, I mean, I think that I would just say, this is going to transform you in ways that you don't even know. You haven't even imagined yet. Like you don't have anything to lose. And I think that that is actually what ended up, you know, um, ultimately getting me to join, was like, I don't have anything to lose. At the very, in my case, at the very least, I have like this amazing machine that provides me with this, like my family with this amazing drinking water. Um, and it's so much more than that. So I think that's what I would tell myself.
Yeah, absolutely. It reminds me of a quote that I came across a while ago, and it said like, you're afraid now because you can measure like what you'd lose in the short term in terms of like your, monetary investment or whatever, but you can never measure what you would gain if you didn't do that. Like that's what's immeasurable. And yeah, I feel like that goes along with that. And like you said, exactly, you're like, worst case scenario, my health is benefited and my family's health is benefited.
Right. There's nothing to lose, really. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, but I'm glad that it's more than just that, and it's not just the health. I mean, our health is amazing, our health is important, it's the most important thing. Without our health, we're nothing. And when you can like also have the personal development mindset, global community, like all of that, all those perks on top of it, then yeah, it makes a huge difference. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, those are my questions. Do you have anything else that you want to add in? Anything else that came up for you as we were going through?
I mean, I guess to just because I thought of it while you were saying that, like, like one of the biggest things too, takeaways that I've had is just, I think that it's easy to fall into like a fear-based mindset, and that's just one thing that you're constantly being reminded of in this collective, is like, where are your decisions coming from? What is it really that you're looking at for yourself? Are you deciding out of fear of the unknown, because there's so much to be learned in the unknown. And if we stay in the known, then how are we growing, you know? So I think that's hard. Like it's a super hard thing for me, but at least I'm aware of, that fear, I can notice it, but I don't need to always make my decisions from it.
I love what you said that about the unknown, because I think that so many people hold themselves back because they fear the unknown. And just like you said, where's the growth if you're not, you know, exploring those pieces, whatever that may look like in your case. Yeah, cool. Well, thanks so much for taking time out of your day for this, Sarah. And anyone who's been watching us, please say hi, let us know. If you guys want to know more about what exactly it is that we do online, if you're connected to Sarah, just send her a PM and say, hey, I watched your interview and I'm curious to learn more. If you're connected with me, just send me a PM and say the same. And we would love to connect with you. I think you can probably tell, but we don't ever come from a place of like pushiness or thinking that we know what's best for you. Everything is all about empowering you to make the best decisions for you in your life, and what could be helping you break through to that next level. What could be, what you don't know could be really the catalyst for the next step for you. Yay. Yep.
Yay,
And
thank you
then
so
that will
much.
just, yeah. Thanks,
It's fun
Sarah. Thanks.
talking to you.
Yeah. It was fun talking to you too. This was great. And yeah, I'll be seeing you guys next week for my next weekly spotlight. And make sure to go over to Sarah's page and check out her content, see what she stands for. And yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and thanks for joining me, Sarah. I'll talk to you all soon.
All right, bye.
Bye.